In this video, we will be going over major structures in the axial CT of the abdomen. Now, there are many structures located in the abdomen. There is a number of viscera that have defined regions to them, as well as a number of branching arteries and veins. Since this video is just an introduction to what an axial CT of the abdomen looks like, I will not be defining every structure in the abdomen, but mostly major viscera to give you an idea of where you are in the body when you are looking at a single image from an axial CT. Please make sure to consult your lecture materials on those topics we are not covering here today, since they are high-yield written exam materials. Here's just a list of the structures we will be covering in this presentation, in generally the order we will see them. Now, I won't be pointing out parts of the small intestines since it spans most of the abdomen and doesn't quite help as a landmark, but I will point out the location of the large intestine when applicable. I'll also be using a variety of cartoon images throughout the presentation to help orient ourselves, as well as show the orientation of some viscera in the abdomen with respect to each other. Here's just a reminder before we start on what type of view we are using in this image set, and I'll just circle that plane right now. We're using a transverse or horizontal plane, also known as axial. Now, this first image should actually look very familiar to you. Are we even in the abdomen yet? The answer is no, because this is the heart we can actually see that I'll circle quickly here in blue. And you should be able to recognize this from your last unit of anatomy, as well as the axial heart video I hoped you watched previously to this one. I'll scroll through a few more slides until we've actually entered the abdomen. Now, a new structure has come into view right here, and I'll circle that in yellow very quickly. Think about what structure is located in the superior region of the abdomen on the right side of the body. Keep that in mind as the structure becomes larger in the next few slides, and then we'll orient ourselves with a cartoon image. Another new structure has appeared, and I'll circle that in green right now. So we have two structures we have to identify, that new one in green and the one from a couple slides ago in yellow. So let's go ahead and move on to a cartoon image and orient ourselves. If you haven't figured it out by now, the structure we saw first on the right side of the body is the liver. I'll just label that L quickly. And the new structure we found on the last slide is the stomach. And I'll just label that S. Now, the liver has expanded on this image, and we are starting to see a little bit of the stomach. So let's go ahead and orient ourselves on our cartoon image. We're right about here. Specifically, we've cut through the fundus of the stomach. So let's scroll through some more slides to see the liver and stomach become even more defined. Another structure close to the stomach has appeared that's near the posterior side of it, and I'll circle that quickly in blue. This is going to be the spleen. Here's a different image that better shows the location of the spleen posterior to the stomach. The spleen is the purple-colored structure on the cartoon image, and I'll go ahead and outline that in black for you right now. Let's scroll through a few more slides now until we reach another landmark. Here's our next landmark that has started to appear, showing that we're moving down the abdomen, and I'll circle that right now in blue. And it's only on the left side of this image. So let's orient ourselves to find out what it is. I'll use this image to point out generally where we are in the abdomen first, but since the structure we want to identify is located on the posterior abdominal wall, you can't see it on this picture, so I'll show you a better picture next slide that will identify our structure. Before we do that, we are about here in the abdomen, and I'll draw a black line right now. If you haven't figured it out yet, our new landmark is the left kidney coming into view. The picture on the right shows the orientation of the left kidney posterior to the stomach. In most cases, the left kidney lies more superior in the abdomen compared to the right kidney. Let me just trace out the left kidney for you on both of these images while we're here. There is it on the cartoon image, and then again on the CT image in black. The right kidney is now starting to come more into view, and I'll circle that right here in green. And you can also see the left kidney is becoming more defined, and I'll circle that in green as well. In addition, we can see the tail and the body of the pancreas. I'll outline that in red right here. Now, the boundaries of the pancreas are a little hard to determine on an axial CT, but as long as you keep in mind where it is located in the abdomen with respect to other structures, you can find it on a CT. I'll outline the pancreas on the cartoon image now, and I'll do that in red very quickly. And then let me outline it once more on our CT image. Notice how close in proximity the pancreas is to the left kidney and the spleen. And just keep in mind the spleen isn't shown on our cartoon image on the right. This is the same image we have looked at in the past 2 slides. There are 2 things I want you to keep an eye on now as we move through a couple of more images. The first of which being this little dark gray structure close to the liver. And I'll outline that quickly in blue for you. Now I'm going to wait to tell you what this is for a few more slides until we orient ourselves again. Second, I'm going to circle this structure here in green. And I'll tell you right now that this is the inferior vena cava. Now I want you to keep an eye on that structure as we scroll through a couple more slides, and I want you to see how it turns into a different structure. And I'm going to scroll through the next few images very slow so that you can keep track of it. So what you're going to do is keep an eye on the inferior vena cava, which I circled in green, for a couple more slides. Now the gray structure we pointed out a few slides ago is actually the gallbladder, and I'll circle that again for you right here in blue. And the inferior vena cava has given rise to the right renal vein, which I'll trace out for you in green. Let's go ahead and orient ourselves again. You can see just a little bit of the gallbladder in this cartoon image on the right. I'll just circle that quickly in purple. It's this little green dot, very close to the liver right there. Now I'll draw a line to orient ourselves. Remember, we're going through the gallbladder. Now we've moved inferior enough so that the liver isn't taking up most of the right side of our CT image, and also far enough that we've cut through both kidneys. I also want to mention with this picture, we have cut through a little bit of the large intestine because you can see the air in it on our CT image, and I'll just circle that very briefly in red. Now let me show you where we are with respect to the kidneys with a different picture. So I said, and I'm going to outline this in black, we had the right renal vein. So I'm going to draw a line on our cartoon image right about here. As of this point, I've mentioned everything I want to associated with the major viscera of the abdomen, so I'll scroll through the next few slides relatively fast until I reach the last image of the set, where I just have 1 or 2 more structures to point out for you. You can see that the left kidney has disappeared, and the right kidney disappears. The very last thing I want to point out is the beginning of the bifurcation of the abdominal aorta into the left and right common iliac arteries, which you can see very faintly here. And I'll draw a circle around both of them first. And you can see a little line showing there is a bifurcation right there. Let's orient ourselves one last time as we exit the abdomen. Again, we're right at the bifurcation of the abdominal aorta into the common iliac arteries, right about there. And that concludes this presentation. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful.